Hey guys, hope everybody's doing good out there today, and welcome back for another edition of Mental Mondays. You know, my favorite part of doing the YouTube videos is the Mental Mondays, and I appreciate you guys that tune in for this particular video because you guys tend to be the hardcore fans of the channel, and I much appreciate it, and I really enjoy addressing everybody that's interested in what I'm talking about here. You know, we talk about the mental side of fishing, more than just the mental side of life, because a lot of the stuff we talk about here doesn't have anything to do with fishing. It's more about life. But one of my best friends, he always says that, you know, well, some girls don't care for guys like me, but then some do. So that's the whole thing. And that's the same with the mental part of anything. You know, some people are interested in it and some people just aren't. That's just sort of the way it is. But today's topic, what I want to talk about today, is time. And one of the things that you'll see and hear a lot on this channel when we talk about the mental part of everything is I talk a lot about, you know, spirituality, time, death, all this type of stuff, because I think it's a primal part of our being. It's something that exists that doesn't get talked about enough, and it's hard to separate it from any other aspect of life. So you'll hear me talk about it quite a bit. And the reason for the thumbnail, the thumbnail, it shows two 101st Airborne paratroopers in World War II during a break in the Battle of the Bulge. I put that on there because I got thinking about it. And when I was born in 1961, those dudes that fought in World War II, they were only like 30 or 31 years old when I was born. And now you consider World War II veterans, they're all getting close to 100 years old. But when I was born, you know, they were, you know, young men. They're 30 years old. So that got me thinking about time as far as in my own perspective, as far as, you know, how quick time moves along. And that's sort of the topic for today. But anyway, to start off on this particular thing, a lot of it, again, it goes back to people's belief systems. You know, every single person out there has a right to their own belief systems. And when you're talking about belief systems, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a Hindu or a Buddhist or an atheist or agnostic or whatever. Everybody has a right to their own belief systems. And the thing about belief systems, guys, it doesn't matter what if you're religious or if you're not religious, it doesn't really matter. Everybody thinks they're right, and everybody normally thinks the other person's wrong. That's just the way that belief systems work. So from that standpoint, that's why we have a lot of tension, and that's why we have a lot of conflicts surrounding our belief systems, and that's why wars have been fought over. Wars have been fought over belief systems forever. Belief systems still divide our country today. I think that if people would just accept the fact that everybody has the right to their own beliefs and not try to force others on other people, we'd be a lot better off. But anyway, that given said, let's talk a little bit about time. If you saw the video we did last week, we talked a little bit about living in the present and that type of stuff. Time has a lot to do with that, because I think what a lot of people don't realize is when you start to get, there's different stages of people's life. When you're a child, up until you're about, in your teens or something like that, life drags. I mean, it seems like it goes on forever. It seems like it's slow, and you don't really grasp, and you don't have really a sense of time so much. Once you start to get in your 20s, you reach a different level too. Time starts to have a little bit more meaning, because most people, when they reach their 20s, that's when they first start getting the glimpse of their mortality to some extent, because the next thing that comes after your 20s is your 30s. And to a lot of people that are 20 years old, being 30 years old seems pretty old. I know in my own situation, when I hit 30, it impacted me mentally a lot more than it did when I hit 50. And then when you get in your 30s, you figure, okay, I'm in the prime of my life, this type of stuff, I'm at the top of my game. Normally that's when bass anglers, tournament fishermen are at the top of the game in their 30s. And then you next forward, you said, okay, I'm in my 40s. And then every decade that you get older, there's a shift in your perception of time, exactly what that means. And I think it's only when you start getting into your 50s, and like I said, I'm using this from my own experience and others too that I've talked to. when you start getting into your 50s, you start to have a much, much deeper appreciation for how precious time is. And up until you're in your 50s, you don't really see that as much. You don't really appreciate time and how precious time is. And you tend to be a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, but you just don't appreciate, the time that you have or that you don't have. But once you're in your 50s, your mortality starts coming more into play a little bit, because when you're in your 50s, you know that you got another, 30, 40, at the most 50 years left on the planet, once you hit that at the very most. And once you hit 60, like I am now, 20 years doesn't seem that much at a time, but 20 years from now, I'll be 80 years old in just 20 years. And I look back 20 years ago, that was 2002. It seemed like it was yesterday. So literally 2002 to me seems like it was just yesterday. And in another 20 years, when I'm 80 years old, that's going to go by like that. I think one of the important things about this video is that, guys, the amount of time that we have on this planet is tiny. I mean, it's all in the perception, but it goes by so fast. I can remember so vividly what it was like to be a little kid, at our house with my parents, and experiencing all the things in grade school and kids and that type of stuff. It literally just seems like it's yesterday. Now my parents are gone, all their friends are gone, that generation's gone, and time waits for nobody, as the video said here. It waits for no one. And one of the things that I think that we need to get taught as an early age, some parents do this, some parents don't, is that you can't be sloppy with time. You got to appreciate every second that you have on this planet, because nobody knows how much time they got. I mean, nobody does. I mean, it's all relative to, one of the mysteries of the universe. So from that standpoint, the only thing that you can use, you got to treat time as it's precious, and you can't waste it on anything. And it's hard to do, because life gets in the way a lot of times. Because when if you're a typical guy out there and you've got a family and you've got a wife, at times you've got your wife yelling at you for something that you're doing or you're not doing. You've got obligations here and there. You've got distractions and responsibilities that you got to take care of. You've got just life coming in at you at all directions. And when you have that, it's hard to get centered, and it's hard to get focused and appreciate time for what it is. So I think one of the big practices that everybody can really learn from on this is just being aware of that. Being aware of your mortality at the earliest possible age that you can be. And, I think that's a great thing to teach, kids even at a young age. Just really, don't just waste your time that you have out there. Make the most of it and appreciate, everything that you've got going that particular day. And I think that if, we have that type of mindset, it makes for a lot more richer, fuller life overall. And, this is one of the most difficult things to really talk about, because, this is another one of those things that nobody teaches us in school. I mean, they'll teach us about physics and algebra and geography and that type of stuff, but it doesn't really teach you as far as how do you live your life in terms of the time that you do have on this earth to share it with. And that's one of my favorite lines about in Lord of the Rings, and Gandalf, when they're getting ready to go into battle, he made the comment, it's not about how much time we have, it's about what we do with the time that we do have. And I think that's such a true statement, because I find in my own situation, there's a lot of times where, not as much now, but a lot of times in the past, where I just wasted a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time doing things that were not productive to me, doing things that, didn't benefit me as a person, and, didn't really have the discipline to make sure my time was important. So that's really one of the things I wanted to leave with you guys in this video. And the point of the video is just be aware of time. Be aware of how fast time goes by and how quick it goes by. A lot of you guys, I'm not even excuse me, I'm not even telling you anything that you guys don't already know already. Some of you guys may not be as aware of it, especially if you're a little bit younger, you may not be aware of it. all you guys that are my age or even older than my age, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because I can promise you, if you're a 20-year-old young gun out there and you're full of the vigor of life and you're just wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, before you know it, you're going to be an old dude. I was, just yesterday, I was one of those guys. I was one of those 20-year-old full of the vigor of life guys. I still like to consider myself full of vigor of life, but it's just different because the time goes by in just a split second. So, cherish every moment that you have out there. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be accepting of others, be empathetic with other people, and just love whenever you can, man. I don't care if it's a dog or if it's people around you or if it's a 200-year-old oak tree. You have got to give and you've got to accept love, because in the bigger picture, there is nothing that makes any difference besides that. That is the only thing that matters on this earth and whatever lies after this earth, and that's the big mystery, guys. There's so much of life it's a divine mystery that you can't explain. People try to explain it. People try to explain the mystery of life simply, for their own well-being, for their own need to put what life is in some little four-cornered neat box. But it's not like that. It's a mystery to everybody. And the only thing that we can do, and the only power that we really have, is our ability to give and accept love. That's really the only thing that matters. So anyway, that's just a few thoughts for today. I hope that, made sense on some level. Some of this stuff may or may not make sense on one level, because I'm just talking. I don't really know what I'm going to be talking about when I get up here. It just sort of comes out there. But that's what it is today. It's just the video based upon me seeing that picture and realizing, how quick that time has flew by, for me. I just can't believe that World War II veterans are 31 years old. And another thing that's hard to believe, World War I veterans were the same age. When I was born, a World War I veteran was the same age as I am right now. So that'll put it in perspective, for you guys quite a bit. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning into the video. Much appreciated. And I really thank you guys for taking some time to listen to these Mental Mondays. I really enjoy doing them, and we'll talk to y'all later.